What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. WrestleMania Backlash is over, but there's plenty of fallout, including Rhea Ripley joining Judgment Day and Cody Rhodes looking to win the United States Championship. But what other surprises are in store for Raw? Well, join us now as we look at this week's edition of the Red Brand, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including bad news for WWE as Roman Reigns is going to be gone for a while, a Raw tag team headed for a split, a SmackDown star moves to Raw, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel Incredible. As always, we won't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Cody's quest for gold. A Cody Rhodes vs Theory was a good championship match as Theory defended the belt against the American Nightmare, with both wrestlers putting in a strong effort. But regrettably, the ending was predictable as Rollins interfered in the match in order to force a third match against Cody. The WWE's ball-peen hammer-like subtlety was on full display after Cody said he was done with Seth and moving on. They could have booked Rollins' interference a bit better, but nonetheless the match was entertaining and a reminder that Theory continues to improve, and Cody's presence opens the door for so many fresh matchups. Number 2, turning garbage into gold. Raw's Ezekiel and Kevin Owens shouldn't be good, but somehow the two superstars have made it enjoyable and incredibly kept it going when it should have ended weeks ago. KO introducing his brother Ken Owens was a hilarious twist on Owens' efforts to prove Elias and Ezekiel are one and the same. The WWE figured out a way to get more mileage out of the identity crisis by Owens, claiming he has a DNA test being processed to settle the question. And number 3, the return of Alexa Bliss. Good, well, for now. Now Alexa Bliss is back, and while it's good to see a little Miss Bliss back in the WWE ring, it's too early to tell what's next for her. Let's hope she doesn't fall between the cracks on Raw, as the Red Brand seems to have more women than it knows what to do with. But that was good. What about the bad? Is number 1, Veer Mahaan Jobber Train. Is Veer Mahaan's push veering off the tracks? Well, it's difficult to say as he's riding the Jobber Train right now, demolishing one hapless opponent after another with no end in sight. The WWE likes to push monsters by having them crush hapless local talent week after week, but it's quickly grown tiresome. Unless they bring in some sort of name opponent, even a lower card star, fans will think the WWE is unsure what to do with him. At one point it looked like the WWE was going to throw him into a feud with the Mysterios, but that looks to be on hold as Ray Ray was reportedly taking off time for stem cell treatments. How much longer before Veer starts wrestling recognizable stars, and by that time, will any fans care? Number 2, Edge's new look. I call this petty, and obviously this is what Edge is trying to do. We're supposed to hate the haircut, but it makes him look so bland. His rough cut was much more appropriate for him, and he now looks like he's sharing Drake Maverick's hairstyle. Number 3, 3 DQ finishes? Last night's Raw featured 3 disqualification finishes. 2 too many, as the only one that made sense from a booking standpoint was Cody vs Theory. The DQ finishes were predictable and typical lazy booking. Finn Balor vs Damian Priest was set up to show Judgment Day's numbers advantage, but it could have ended differently with a countout win for Priest. Likewise, Bianca Belair vs Asuka was set up to continue building up Becky vs Asuka by having big time Bex attack Asuka. Again, there were different ways to forward the storyline, such as having Lynch lay out Asuka behind Belair's back, costing her the win. Number 4, Swiss cheese storytelling. Last night's Raw script had more plot holes than Swiss cheese, with the biggest example being the WWE's upper level management canning Sonya Deville due to her flagrant abuse of power. But since when has the WWE's mysterious higher-ups ever cared about officials abusing power? The corrupt authority figure tropes date back to the 90s in the WWE, and suddenly management is putting an end to it now? If so, fans should never see another WWE official abusing their power. Number 5, a wasted main event. Last night's Bella vs Asuka main event was a historic meeting that the WWE utterly wasted, showing its incompetence when it comes to capitalizing on big matches and its inability to create multifaceted storytelling. The match was the first meeting between these two superstars and should have been promoted over time, possibly even reserved for a premium event. But instead they squandered it as nothing more than a vehicle to further the feud between Asuka and Lynch. Clearly the WWE's writers thought the purpose of this encounter wasn't about putting on a first time match, actually a dream match in some respects, but getting the fans excited about Asuka vs Becky. One can't help but wonder if the WWE's writers had any idea of the epic bout they squandered. And Balor vs Styles, so what? Are Balor and AJ Styles joining forces to battle Judgment Day? If so, the WWE hasn't done much to make the fans care about this team, as they've ignored their past history together and failed to follow things up with an interview where they discuss why they're apparently joining forces. I mean, casual fans wouldn't even be able to tell if they didn't just do a quick too sweet gesture, something that WWE even cuts out of some segments. A rumor has it that Finn Balor is going to turn on AJ Styles, a move which could help Finn, but which would make more sense if the WWE at least established the Balor-Styles team before Balor bails on the Phenomenal One. Now, whilst there was nothing downright ugly about last night's show, it was incredibly meh. Something simply shocking when you look at the various talent who competed last night. How do you squander matches like Damian Priest vs Finn Balor or Asuka vs Bianca Belair? What did you guys think of Raw last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now, first story looks at bad news for WWE. As bad news for the fans at WWE and the Tribal Chief, as Roman Reigns is reportedly taking the whole of summer off. Just why remains unknown, but it's a major hiatus for the WWE's most pushed star and one that could leave a serious gap on programming. While Roman's absence hasn't been confirmed, Meltzer reported on the Wrestling Observer Radio that, "I'm trying to get more information on this, but he was removed from all shows. His last show is on June 19th until after Labor Day. I don't know what the situation is, but he's scheduled for the 2 pay-per-view shows. I don't know what that is, whether he's doing a movie, but it is obviously, we already know his schedule going forward after June is going to be to cut back anyway, but there will be a period where he won't be on television because he's been removed from all the advertisement." As noted by Wrestling News' Andrew Ravens, a PW Insider broke the story that Reigns is not advertised for any TV events or house shows in July and August. This story follows comments made by Reigns at a live event where he discussed the possibility of leaving the WWE. Reigns posted a video on his Instagram account after WrestleMania Backlash that even suggested he's unsure of his future. As reported earlier this week, Reigns signed a new WWE contract that allows him to work fewer live events. How this fits in with Reigns' reported summer sabbatical is kind of unclear, but his absence will be sorely felt because even if he competes at WWE's June and July pay-per-views, he won't be able to promote the appearances on television. So whatever feuds he's going to be in are going to be terribly weak. What do you think of Roman Reigns taking the summer off? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the government suing a WWE Hall of Famer. Ted DiBiase and 37 other individuals are being sued by the Mississippi Department of Human Services for allegedly misusing funds allocated to help the poor. WLOX 13 is reporting the long-awaited civil lawsuit, which intends to claw back roughly $24 million in federal funds misused in a sprawling scandal officials began to unravel almost 3 months ago. Targets famous athletes Brett Favre, former running back Marcus Dupree, former linebacker Paul Lacoste, retired WWE wrestler Ted the Million Dollar Man DiBiase Sr. and his 2 sons, among others. The Wrestling Observer Figure 4 online site noted the lawsuit lists Ted DiBiase Sr. owing $1,971,223, DiBiase Jr. $2,897,487, and Brett DiBiase $824,258. Currently, there's no word if the complainant used the lines from DiBiase's $1 Million Man theme music that everyone has a price, everyone is gonna pay. Yeah, damn right, someone's gonna pay out of this. Next up, Trouble in Paradise. Currently, there's speculation that WWE is now beginning a split between Riddle and Orton. Wrestling News' Paul Davis discussed the spot during the RK Bro vs Street Profits match where Riddle accidentally hit Orton and Corey Graves labeled it as a rare miscommunication by RK Bro. That's WWE code for a pending breakup. Davis also brought up the following comments by Randy on Raw Talk saying, "You're hitting a couple of super RKOs in the last week or so, like you're blowing my mind, bro. I might have you to go back to the bro Derek because you're gonna steal my thunder. They want to see me hit the RKO out of nowhere. Bro, I got 10 more years of this stuff. I gotta keep that RKO mine." Our RK Bro is one of those tag teams that have always been living on borrowed time, but their popularity seemed to give it a longer shelf life than initially planned. Should the WWE split them up now, or should they wait a lot longer? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, a SmackDown star quietly moved to Raw. And last but not least, it looks like WWE has made another roster change as PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting WWE have officially moved Lacey Evans to the Raw roster. Right now, it looks like Evans will work as a heel despite weeks of vignettes promoting her as a babyface. What do you guys think of the move? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.